On this day, the air itself became a killer. A quiet fog rolled into London. But it was not fog. It was poison, a silent enemy that showed how deadly human negligence can be. December 5th, 1952, is the day London discovered that the environment is not just nature, it is survival. In the early morning, the city woke to what looked like a normal winter mist. But as the hours passed, the fog thickened, darkened, and turned yellow. People stepped outside and felt their lungs sting. The visibility dropped so fast that Londoners couldn't see their own feet. Cars stopped. Buses froze where they were. Even the police officers guiding traffic began coughing uncontrollably as the toxic air wrapped around them. What London didn't know yet was that the cold winter weather had trapped smoke from millions of coal fires close to the ground. Coal from homes, factories, and power stations mixed with industrial pollution until the air itself became a deadly chemical blanket. London was breathing poison, and it had nowhere to escape. At first, people ignored it. They thought it was just bad weather. But within hours, hospitals began to overflow. Children were the first to struggle. The elderly collapsed in their homes. Ambulances couldn't move because the smog was too thick to drive through. Even indoor events were cancelled because the smoke seeped into buildings, covering everything in a grey, suffocating haze. The city was trapped inside its own pollution. Doctors soon realized the truth. The smog was not just uncomfortable, it was lethal. Breathing felt like swallowing hot ash. People walking to work suddenly sat down on the pavement, unable to take another breath. Across London, families listened to the sound of coughing echoing through the streets, knowing that help could not reach them. And still, the smog thickened. For 4 long days, London lived inside a yellow-black cloud. Trains stopped. Boats along the Thames couldn't move. Schools closed. Life simply paused. And when the smog finally lifted, the true scale of the disaster came to light. More than 4,000 people had lost their lives, and thousands more in the weeks that followed. Why did this happen? Because the city relied on cheap, dirty coal. Because pollution warnings were ignored. Because leaders believed the environment could take endless damage without consequence. The Great Smog was not an accident, it was a disaster built slowly over years, but unleashed in a single day. It affected everyone. Families choking inside their homes, workers trapped in the streets, doctors helpless in overcrowded hospitals, a whole city watching the sky turn from grey to brown to deadly. But this tragedy also changed the world. The horror of the Great Smog pushed governments to take pollution seriously for the first time. It led directly to the Clean Air Act of 1956, a law that became a global model for environmental protection. London's suffering forced nations to rethink how they treated the air their people breathed. What does this teach us today? That the environment is not a political argument. It is the breath in our lungs. That ignoring pollution doesn't make it disappear, it makes it deadly. That cities today are still at risk if leaders wait for disaster before taking action. The positive side of this event is that it changed the future. It created new laws, saved future generations, and opened the world's eyes to the cost of uncontrolled pollution. The negative side is that thousands paid for that lesson with their lives. A warning ignored became a tragedy no one could escape. And why does this matter to our lives? Because every city today still struggles with pollution. Because the air we breathe is the first thing we take for granted, until it turns against us. Because history shows that survival depends on acting early, not after disaster strikes. The Great Smog of London is not just a story of the past. It is a reminder that the choices we make today shape the air our children will breathe tomorrow. History is not old, history is living inside us. One day, one event, one lesson. Mr. Feedy.